Hello there. How are you? Yes, and I think that we'll tell some stories, all right? Okay, here goes. Now, Willipus-Wallipus is the name of the boy I'll tell about. He gets in lots of trouble, of that there is no doubt. His mother often tells him, "Dear Willipus, can't you see? If you mind what mother and daddy say, from trouble you'll be free." Well, of course, you and I know she was right. All mothers and daddies know more about those things than we do. Well, now, the Wallipus home was on a street where there was a little hill. And they had an automobile, and Mr. and Mrs. Wallipus had told Willipus many times never to play in the car. I guess he forgot what they told him, because Willipus got into that car. He climbed in the seat, turned the big steering wheel, played he was driving an automobile, pushed buttons and switches to see how they'd feel. Alas, then he loosened the brakes. Well, the car started rolling right down the steep grade. Willipus knew some mistake he had made. He cried and he yelled because he was so afraid. I'd be afraid too, wouldn't you? They kept rolling down the hill faster and faster. The brakes and the steering wheel he could not master. Bound to wind up in some sort of disaster, and he did, gracious me, right away. Yes, sir, that auto zigzagged back and forth across the street and ran right up over the curb, bump, bang. Just like that. And that didn't stop it. It crossed the sidewalk and smashed right through the white picket fence. And still it kept going, right across Mr. Grumble's yard and headed for his chicken coop where he kept all of his prized chickens. Then crash. Oh, my, what a mess. The chicken house was all smashed. Oh, dear me, yes, and the prize chickens are cackling and flying all over the place. And Mr. Grumbles came out of his house, and he was as mad as a wet hen. And the neighbors came running from all directions to see what was the matter, and Mr. and Mrs. Wallipus with them. Somebody's going to pay for this, Mr. Grumbles was saying. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Wallipus looked at the car, and they rushed over and opened the door. And there was Willipus huddled up in the seat. He was not hurt much, but my, he was scared, and did he ever cry. Well, Mr. Wallipus promised Mr. Grumbles he'd pay for all the damage. They took Willipus home and decided not to punish him. As Mr. Wallipus said, he's been punished enough. He learned his lesson the hard way. So just see what can happen when you don't mind mother and dad. Willipus just forgot to mind. He didn't really mean to be bad. Always heed in every way what mother and daddy say. Then we'll have less unhappiness and be happy, bright, and gay.